I'm Sandra Ouaiss. I'm a consultant and I'm working exclusively for Newen, which is the largest independent production company in France. Under Newen, which is the umbrella brand, you have several production companies such as Capadrama. They're the producer of Braco and now Versailles. You also have Tel France, which is the oldest production company in France, doing a lot of stuff for France Télévisions, especially the public channel, and they are also the producer of Life So Sweet. The name in French is Plus Belle la Vie, which is the most successful daily soap in France. I'm looking for partners, production companies or writers, talents, to work on co-production with French partners, with French broadcasters, and to raise those co-production between another European partner and one of the production company of Newen. In France, obviously there is a market opportunity for co-production, essentially due to two broadcasters, but not only. Now they have been followed by the others, Canal+ and TF1. Canal+, they have started this co-production thing some years ago with Borgia because they wanted to have series made in Europe and if possible, initiated in France that could compete with the American ones. So they have started with Borgia. They did the 13, you know, adapted from a comic. And then now they're doing Versailles with Capadrama, and they also have other production.
Then they took away his memory.
Everyone has a breaking point.
If the truth never came out, it would tear this country apart.
Now,
13.
his number is up.
TF1 has followed because TF1 is the mainstream generalist broadcaster in France, private, and they are broadcasting a lot of American series, but since there is a kind of slowdown in imports from the US, they need also to have their own procedural shows that kind of look and feel like Americans and could also compete in terms of added value in the show. And so they are open now to some initiatives coming from Europe and sometimes using the know-how of the American. So you can have American showrunner on French or European series, like for example René Balcer, who did Joe, or Crossing Lines.
Stop! Stop! No!
The call for co-production that ProSieben Sat.1 has launched. They said we're welcoming any kind of project, procedural or serialized, but at the same time, they're mostly looking for procedural because I had the chance to speak to them to understand better what they're looking for. And they said that they're looking for procedural like the French ones, and especially because Germany and France are the two markets where they used to have a lot of American imports, and now they have to face this the end of the prolific exports from the US, and so they're facing the same kind of problem, and they are open to procedural. And the interesting thing about that is that for procedural, they say, not TF1, but ProSieben Sat.1, they say that they're not really attached in having a German element on the series, because they say that when they have the American shows like Mentalist or Dr. House or whatever, usually those shows are dubbed into German, and nobody's German in those series, and they're still working very well. So they say for procedural, they're not really keen on having German elements, so it could be interesting to kind of find the right project and match TF1 and ProSieben and Sat.1, maybe with the know-how of the American. Versailles is very interesting because it's, as you know, it's French history, shot in Versailles, so that's a good thing, but in English with British and American showrunner, British and French actors, initiated by a French production company, which is Capadrama, part of Newen Group. So it's really an idea coming from France and between two French, a broadcaster and a production company. But then they have decided that if they want to do it properly, they need money, and if they need money, they need to make it in English. Netflix is still a partner that we can go to and propose some projects because they're keen on receiving projects coming from European partners, and especially if we have already European broadcasters involved, they could be interested in looking at interesting package. And Amazon as well, even if Amazon is more they are in the US and they're commissioning shows coming from the US. So for the moment, they haven't really commissioned show outside the US. But of course, I mean, in terms of international co-production, especially with the ones where we are going to have American writers or American EPs, we can go to them because we still have talents that they know.
Ils ont réinventé l'enfer. Ça, c'est la merde, Roxane, la merde.
Votre tristesse, votre désespoir à vous les flics. C'est trop dur pour quelqu'un de normal.
We have a project with iWork in Scandinavia called Geneva, and it's set in half in Geneva, half in Syria and Turkey, because it's about false medics and the traffic of false medics. And you have a French character who is a doctor without border, and a Danish character, a woman, who is going to investigate in this traffic, working at the WHO. So this project is written by Nicolas Cherfig, who is one of the writers of Braun, the tunnel, the bridge. You have several names. So we are currently pitching this project, and this one is a co-production between Tel France and iWorks. The biggest challenge is to find the right place, the right home for those projects, and to work properly with different partners who have, and when I say partners, I'm also talking about the broadcasters who have the same DNA and who could understand themselves and look at the same direction for the project.